What's happening, guys? It's Ryan. Hey, I just want to talk to you guys real quick about my guest for this episode. Her name is Melissa McCoury. She is a RSP Nutrition employee, and if you've listened to any of the podcasts beforehand or anything I've posted on Instagram, I am a huge fan of RSP, and a friend of mine growing up from Rhode Island, Kalichi, is invested with them as well, and so worked with him and got in touch with Melissa, who I'd somehow been following in Charlotte on Instagram for a while now, and it so happened that she was an RSP Nutrition representative, so reached out to her. So she came by. We talked about RSP, but we also talked about who she is, how she got involved in the fitness industry to start, and then how did she started as a personal trainer. How did she go from a personal trainer to working in the supplement industry? So she talks about that. We also went on to talk about accountability when it comes to working out for you, for yourself, for your family, kids, anything like that. How do you stay accountable and in life in general? And how it translates into fitness and what she stands for and believes in. We talked about some workout plans. Go and follow her, Fit First Lady _RSP on Instagram. She posts all of her workouts. You can look at her workout plans. We talk about nutrition. And then she also brought me some gifts. She brought me 4 envelopes around writing down your goals, and it's a pretty cool idea. If you saw it on my Instagram, if you haven't, go back and check that out. And it's also on hers as well. So you write down your goals for the first week of the year. And on January 1, you write them down, you put them in an envelope, and on January 8th, you open them. And did you accomplish those goals? And then you also, at the same time, write your goals for the first month of the year, 6 months of the year, end of year, and then also month over month. And it really it does a good job of holding yourself accountable. So the statistic for writing anything down is it's 40%. So you're 40% more likely to achieve something if you write it down. So again, it's always good to write down your goals. So we talked about starting the year off right for 2019. Any advice that she has for anyone of you that might be interested in getting into the fitness industry or even the nutrition or supplement industry, we talked about that. What her role is at the company, where she started, what she's doing now for them, what makes RSP different, and then just a little further dive into, things around Charlotte that she likes to do, as well as what she likes to do outside of the fitness industry. So it was a really cool conversation. I'll probably have her back as a guest in the next couple months. Again, we're talking about accountability, just to do kind of a follow-up where we are after Q1 in your fitness world and your goal setting and all of that, and then maybe mid-year and end of year. We'll see if our schedules align like that. But I hope you enjoy it. It's certainly very fitness focused, which is great. Again, this is the whole point of the podcast, is sports and fitness and life and how they come together. And Melissa really hit it on the head today around fitness and life, and how her life has been focused around fitness and family and everything else like that. So hope you enjoy it. Again, go, if you listen on Apple Podcasts, rate the podcast. Let me know. Put some comments in there as well. That's how more and more people can actually get exposed to it, to hear what I'm talking about, what my guests are talking about. If you have to give it the ratings. That's the only way that Apple will actually, put it on some of the top pages when you search for, if you want to listen to a sports podcast or a fitness podcast. If you have the ratings on there and comments on there, that certainly helps, and helps this podcast grow, and hopefully gets me to be able to do some fun things for 2019 as this continues to build and gain momentum, and I continue to enjoy doing it. So thanks again for listening. I hope you enjoy this one. Welcome to 2 Cents Worth. This is your host, Ryan DeFaber. I am here with Melissa McCoury, who we have some mutual friends together, but we have never met until about 20 minutes ago. So we were just kind of reviewing the podcast and how it goes. So it's going to be a interesting and open conversation that I'm going to learn a lot about Melissa, and she'll probably learn some about me. But this is mostly going to be about her. So Melissa, so we just met. How would you describe yourself to someone you just met? Say you get stuck in an elevator. What's your elevator speech? Who's Melissa?
I like it. Well, I would definitely say I'm upbeat, outgoing. I'm a hard worker. So, if you hand me a dictionary, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to ask you how to spell a word. I'm going to do it on my own. And then if I can't figure it out, then I'm going to, ask for some help there. So I'm pretty independent that way. Strong in faith. I would say my downfalls are that I'm very loud, is what I've been told. So I'm a loudspeaker. So if this, you can hear it probably on this podcast. So I'll try and...
I can change the recording volume, so don't worry.
Perfect, because I don't want to blow out anyone's ears. So I'm often told to quiet down. And then I've been not diagnosed, but definitely I have an issue where I don't recognize people if I've only met them once and then I meet them again. It takes me about 2 to 3 times to recognize somebody. So it's kind of quite embarrassing sometimes. And not only that, it's also people think I'm rude, but I'm just really don't recognize you.
So that might be a good thing. If this goes south and I see you again, I'll know that you won't know who I am.
I absolutely will not recognize you. And if you don't have that hat on right now, and then you have like on work clothes, I would be like, walk right by you.
This is gonna be perfect. Hopefully, it doesn't turn out south, but that's interesting.
Yeah, you'll have to reintroduce yourself for sure.
Okay, that's fine. I'll take a picture of us here, and then I'll be like, remember, you actually came to my house. Like we know each other. So what brought you to Charlotte? Because I know everybody that I know, including myself, if you live in Charlotte or the Charlotte area, you're not from Charlotte. I think there's one person that's been on this show that is actually born and raised Charlotte. So what brought you to Charlotte?
You're right. I probably have 2 friends that I know that grew up here.
The way the city's growing, it's becoming less and less. Mm-hmm. It's a rarity to actually be from Charlotte.
Absolutely. So I moved from Charlotte as soon as I graduated from Kent State University. Okay. And the reason I came here is my husband was a school teacher. He was already working up in Ohio for a year, and I had just graduated with my teaching degree, and I was looking for a job. And I wanted to move, first of all. In 4th grade, I told my mom, why do we live in Ohio? 4th grade. Okay. And she remembers, she tells me all the time, she's like, when you were in 4th grade, you said to me, why do we live in Ohio? As soon as I graduate from college, I'm leaving. Nothing wrong with Ohio. It's just cold.
Yeah.
And I just really, always naturally cold anyway. So I just needed to move somewhere where I was a little bit warmer. And I did. Literally, as soon as I graduated from college, from Kent, they had like a job fair, and Charlotte was one of those that came trying to recruit some teachers. So the stipulation was if my husband can get a job also, which he's a PE teacher, so it's a little bit harder for him to find a position, that Charlotte would be on the list. So basically that's how we both got jobs down here, and we were able to move down here and start teaching.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Charlotte, I mean, in general, since I've lived here, so my wife is from Florida, and so we met in college, and the deal was whoever gets a job first, wherever they get a job, that's where we'll move. And she actually got a job before I did here in Charlotte. Just the opportunities that the city has. I get asked all the time, would you ever live anywhere else? Right now, I wouldn't, just because of the opportunities. If the job that I have today, ever took me somewhere else, I'd probably just turn that down and find another job in Charlotte, because I like the city a lot, and I like the opportunity, and the weather is really nice. So you grew up in Ohio. I grew up in Rhode Island. I absolutely hate winter. I hate snow. It's just not something I enjoy. I feel bad for my kids because they want to see snow, and I'm like, I hope every time the weather is like, it might snow, I'm like, it better not snow. I hate snow. What do you love about Charlotte?
I mean, that question is more like, what don't I love about Charlotte? I think Charlotte is like, I feel like you've seemed to feel the same way, that the best parts about Charlotte is, the people, even though no, not very many people are from Charlotte.
Yeah.
Everybody that comes here seems so happy. They want to, be helpful and kind to other people. They're also looking for opportunities. So it's a lot of networking, and that makes it fun. The restaurants are great in Charlotte. We have a lot of good opportunities for different types of restaurants to visit. And the sporting events, to me, I'm a huge sports fan. I love being able to go and watch a lot of pro athletes, or even just the college teams that are close by, and even the high schools. So I think are really great. And then I would just say, I think as far as me with raising my family, it was important to have a place where maybe I'm not right in the city, but it's easy to get to. But also on the suburbs, a lot of people are around our same age group with the same, age of kids. So you can definitely find a lot of good new friends.
Yeah.
And I think that's helpful. As you get older, it's harder to make friends. I feel like most of my friends, started because my kids were friends with them. So we became friends.
Yeah.
But I think that's important.
There's no argument there. I think, so we both live in the suburbs, and it's nice for the kids, and the schools and families that are around as well. So there's no argument there. We didn't touch on it yet, but I'm going to get into it. So you work for RSP Nutrition, and for anybody that listens to the podcast, I talk about RSP quite a bit, just because I now have a, unbeknownst when I started using it, but a friend of mine that I grew up with in Rhode Island is part owner?
Involved, yes.
Involved? Whatever it is, invested into the company. So it's kind of cool that I used his product, your product, and then that's how I found, got connected with you and got you here. So you work for RSP Nutrition, which we're going to get into. But what I want to know, so you said you came down to be a school teacher. How'd you get into the fitness industry?
Well, that is the crazy thing, because, sometimes you go to school and you think this is what you want to do for the rest of your life, and paths lead you other places, and definitely capitalize on the opportunities. So why I switched over from teaching, which I absolutely love teaching, it was after we had our daughter. She was 6 months old, and I literally was paying every part of my paycheck to the nanny that was taking care of her. And I was like going into work, missing her, crying that I'm missing out on things. Literally, my husband's like, I thought after, 6 months you would stop crying every Sunday night, and I was like, but it was hard because I wanted to be home with her, but I didn't have the financial freedom with, my husband being a school teacher to stay at home. Yeah. So I'm also one of those people that I do like working. I enjoy having something for myself that I feel proud about building. But realizing I wanted to be home with her. So I wanted to figure out, okay, what can I do that is flexible, that I don't have to go back to college for? Because I literally had just graduated not too long ago. And then also something I enjoyed to do. And the answer was personal training. Okay. It was a hands down. I've always been into the fitness industry, working out myself. So personal training is what I knew, first of all, that I could get a certification in within a reasonable time frame. I could have flexible hours, and you can make really good money. Yeah. If you're a great personal trainer, especially, you can make I made more money as a personal trainer than I did teaching, and that's very sad to say.
Well, and reality.
And I worked 4 hours a day. I mean, it's crazy, but yep, that's what it is. It's the reality of it. And it was just, figuring out what is going to be best for me, what's best for my family, and what I'm still going to love to do.
Yeah. So how long do you still do any personal training, or is it?
Yes. No. So I was a personal trainer for 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So do the math. I'm old. Yes.
No, you're not old. Age is just a number.
Right. I do agree with that. So at 10 years, I was a personal trainer. And during that time, I started working part-time for RSP.
Okay.
And then I guess it's been 4 years that I've been full-time with RSP.
Okay. So how did you get connected with RSP?
Okay. So this is one of my favorite stories.
Okay.
Because this is one of those when people say, right place, right time. I agree with that 100%. I agree with connections really can get you places. But I also agree that if you don't capitalize on those, they're just going to be like a passing, like you have to be able to, take the next step to figure out maybe if this is something I want to pursue, what can I do to, stay in their ear or something. So right place, right time. Since I was a personal trainer, I decided to start competing. And I was a sponsored athlete by one of the retail stores here in Charlotte. And RSP, brand new, 2010. They started in 2009, but 2010, by the time they kind of started trying to get into retail, was trying to get into this company that it was NutriShop, I guess I can say that. That was NutriShop here in Charlotte.
I know the owners. They work out at my gym.
There you go. So perfect. Yep. So NutriShop, back in the day, I was a sponsored athlete by them. And RSP was coming in to do kind of a promotion, and they had John Beeson with them. So it was a really big deal, and he was with the Carolina Panthers. They were one of the first athletes backing the product. It stands for Revolutionary Sports Performance. So it's definitely was aimed towards, athletes and clean products for them. So John Beeson was one of our first athletes, and they were doing a huge promotion here in Charlotte, so it was on the news and everything. So the NutriShop contacted me and say, hey, do you mind coming out? We're doing a promotion here. And they have always been great to me, as far as sponsoring me for my competitions and things. So it was kind of a mutual respect. I went out just, help out in case they needed anything, answering questions to customers about products. Well, little did I know that RSP Nutrition would end up being that company there. And to this day, it's still so funny to think about the CEO of the company and the other part owner sitting there handing out samples, doing basically a demo, just trying to tell people about their product. And our first product was called Fast Fuel. Yep.
And I said earlier, that was the first product I ever used.
Yep.
And it might have been because of John Beeson then. I forgot that he was a sponsored athlete of theirs when it first started.
Yes.
So it probably was because of him and the Panthers. Mm-hmm. And like following him on Facebook or seeing something. I can't remember how I found it, but you walk into a GNC or a vitamin shop, there's 10,000 products that you can pick from. So I don't know what. It had to have been because John.
It had to be because
it had to have been.
There we go. Smart marketing.
Yeah, right. I'm not faulting it. It worked.
Yep. The big names do help out.
Yeah. So you meet them. Mm-hmm. Then what?
And I tried their product, Fast Fuel.
Yeah. Which
I really liked. I was competing, so I had tried other products. I was with NutriShop, so I was using NutriShop based products. And I was like, ooh, this Fast Fuel stuff is actually really good. And I competed with it, trained with it and competed, and I placed fourth in nationals. And I told the company when I got their contact information, again, right place, right time. But if you don't do your part of making sure you're following up with maybe a lead that could lead into something, So I, told them how much I liked their product and blah, blah, blah. And they said, we're just now got into the vitamin shops. And do you mind going into the vitamin shop and, setting up a table just like, we had done there? And I said, no, I don't mind that at all. So I started doing a demo, my first demo ever in a vitamin shop. And believe me, when you don't know anything about how to do a demo, you just better figure it out, you know, like I'm thankfully a people person, so I was not afraid to go in there. I knew the product very well. Of course, I'm going to make sure I'm educated on it. And I sold out. When I say sold out, they only had like 3 on the shelf, but because it was the one flavor. Yes. So I sold out and I was like, so I said, okay, yeah, I sold them out. They're like, well, can you start doing other vitamin shops in the area? So I did that, and every time I'd sell out, the product. And it was more or less just because people didn't really know about RSP and the benefits of taking our products and just having the people get to actually try it. So basically I did a really good job at, selling the product. And And it's not hard. It wasn't hard to do because I believe in the product. And a lot of the people also, once they tried it, they're like, oh, this tastes good. They were ready to try something new.
I will say, and again, I don't get paid by RSP. And I've been using it before I knew any of you guys. They do have the best flavors. And what I like about their pre-workout compared to a lot of the other ones is it doesn't taste chalky. You ever had a pre-workout and it just kind of leaves that chalkiness, and it's like it's fruit punch, but you don't really ever taste fruit punch. You taste basically it's like taking medicine.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yes.
I've never had that, and I use Dino now, or right,
Dino. Awesome.
Want to make sure I say all the products right. Which is different than Fast Fuel, and it just has it does have a different consistency, but it still has that good flavor. Regen, Amino Lean, which you're doing the giveaway for. I use the watermelon. I got sent the blackberry or pomegranate, whatever one it is.
Blackberry pomegranate?
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet, so
nice.
I'm looking forward to it. But the True Fit, the cinnamon churro, I don't know. I sent RSP. I put a post on Instagram if you guys saw it. I don't know who came up with that, but they're an evil genius because it tastes like if you ever had Ben & Jerry's cinnamon bun ice cream. That's what it tastes like to me.
Nice.
I make a smoothie and I'm like, oh my God, that's what it tastes like. I told my wife, I'm like, this could help stop me from eating that ice cream all the time because it's really good. But yeah, you said the flavors are good. I've never had a bad flavor of RSP. And again, it doesn't give you that chalky taste and it doesn't give you the jitters. The last thing I want to do when I go to the gym is feel like something's like crawling underneath my skin. I never have that. Right. But the vascular pump, I sound like such a meathead. The vascular pump. But like, my veins, but the blood is flowing better. But I didn't know the actual name of the company. I just was like RSP. So when you just said that earlier.
I like the throwing that one out for a trivia question when I'm speaking in front
That's
of
good
groups.
because,
you'll hear definite, all these random, answers.
I never know. I just hear RSP. I'm like, okay. I never really thought to think of what does RSP ever stand for? I just never thought of that. Okay.
Well, and touching on the flavors real quick, I want to tell you that you're so right. First of all, RSP takes their flavors very, very, it's to them, it's one of their most crucial parts, not just the ingredients. So, it's very important to them. And when we are coming out with a new flavor, for an example, there will be literally 7 mango flavors. Let's just take mango.
Yeah?
And there's 7. Everything is a blind test. And we go throughout the office. We're a very small company. I mean, sometimes they'll even send me samples, here in Charlotte if I'm not in the office. But it's literally every time I'm in the office, we're trying different samples of every different type of flavor. And if we don't all, hands down one of these flavors, then we're like, we got to pick between something else,
Yeah, wow.
So they take their flavoring very, it's very important to them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, you can tell, and if you're somebody that takes supplements or somebody that's thinking about taking supplements, flavor is a big part of it because you can. There might be different benefits because of the ingredients, but if you don't like sucking down something before you go work out, you're not gonna enjoy whatever products. But the RSP, you guys do a really good job of that. So that's good to know. I didn't know how serious they take it, but they do a good job of it. All right, so you start selling out in vitamin shops. What made you take the move to go full time then?
All right. Well, thankfully, I was offered, a position to go ahead and start moving into different retail. So we had the vitamin shops and eventually GNCs, and we had some of the other shops around the country that were carrying us in retail wise, brick and mortar. And they said, "How do you feel about trying this sales job? Going around." Having them pick up some of our new products that we have and working out some deals. And I was like, sounds fun. Let's do it, So it was more or less just growing first right here in North Carolina. And then of course, South Carolina, Georgia, just getting the opportunity for people to know about our products and how they could have purchased them or picked them up because we are so new. It was just about getting the word out.
Okay. So explain. So we didn't really, again, we haven't touched on it. I wanted to get into it. So what is your actual job at RSP?
So currently, throughout the years, and my Instagram, as you know, is at fitfirstlady_RSP.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I have that title is because I was their very first employee hired. So,
okay, well,
yeah.
All right.
So
it kind of made sense, but I did want to ask you that. Like, what does the Fit First Lady mean? First employee, okay.
Yes, and I did not give myself the first lady title. The CEO did. So I was like, very cool. No matter what other title I carry as far as, sales rep, whatever it may be, that's a pretty cool title. So I've been with them since they started, obviously, as far as employees wise. And so my role has changed over the years. And for me, it's basically, I know they know what they're doing. Yeah. I mean, we have grown 40% growth every single year. So I trust them. If this is where they need me to be at this time, then we'll move with it. So currently I'm in charge of the retail stores, which are GNCs and vitamin shops. And that's throughout the entire country. Okay. So, if one of their employees there, or usually I work with some of the higher management, like the district managers or the regional sales directors, then when they need some products or they have questions about products or they're doing training with their large group of employees, that's when I go in and, tell them about RSP products and explain the benefits of taking RSP products and why to choose RSP products over some other products.
Yeah. So national.
National, yeah,
okay.
I do it.
And they're not headquartered here.
No.
So I think that's pretty cool. I think that speaks volumes for, the value that you bring to the company because they're out of Miami, right?
Yes, they're based in Miami.
I would imagine that's how they got hooked up with John Beeson because John played at University of Miami.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm
putting
everything together again because
you got it.
I know where they're headquartered and I know that you don't live in Miami, obviously. So, So GNC Vitamin Shop, I can get it on bodybuilding.com, jet.com, Walmart too. Mm-hmm. Yep. So anywhere else that we can find it?
You can find it on iHerb. You can find it on, let's see, we did bodybuilding.com, Amazon, of course.
Okay, Amazon. All right.
Trying to think some of the other e-coms. Right now, I mean, we're working with a few other some bigger stores and e-commerces and things like that.
But Vitamin Shop, GNC, your basic supplement stores, national?
Yes. So those are the two.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you guys then also do regional ones too, or do you just try and say, like you mentioned NutriShop?
Yes.
Like I know here in Charlotte you have like NutriShop, you have Health Nuts, you have these other smaller, just one or two stores. Do you guys work with those types of stores regionally as well, or is it just stick to the GNC vitamin shops?
We currently are just sticking because of the direct distribution that we have going on, and just focusing. We have a lot of international business as well. So, yes.
So that's good. So anybody listening internationally, you can find RSP as well.
Absolutely.
If you don't do it through e-commerce, you can find it probably in a local store internationally.
Right.
Okay. We're going to circle back because we'll come back to some RSP stuff because I do want to touch on, you talked about clean ingredients and all that stuff. I do want to touch on what makes RSP different, but I did want to go back. So you did personal training, you started with RSP, you did competitions. What else in your fitness journey has kind of led you to who you are today? Is there anything else that we didn't touch on? Because you said you've always worked out. What is it about the fitness industry that keeps you motivated, I guess?
I just think it's definitely one of those being a goal-oriented person, whether or not I'm getting up on stage to compete, I always try to, be within that realm of it or challenge myself if it's, personally, I don't like to stretch. I know that's bad. Wow. I know I'm really bad about stretching. So maybe
don't always take her advice, guys.
No, that's what I'm saying. You definitely need to be stretching. So I kind of roll out on the foam roller, which is kind of like what I consider stretching, but I know it's, I need to do other aspects. So it's whether or not whatever my goal might be, maybe it's to, add in some more stretch time or, as far as the overall aspect of why I want to keep training, it's just it's been a part of my lifestyle, and I think it's so fun seeing so many people that maybe they didn't grow up having that as a part of their lifestyle, but has started making it, and now they're like hooked too.
What would your advice be to somebody that's looking to get into, this is a twofold, there's a couple of parts of this question.
Sure.
Somebody wanting to get into doing competitions. What would be like it doesn't have to be like a boil the ocean type answer, but what would be some advice you would give to somebody that's looking to get into competitions?
So definitely know first of all, where you want to compete at. Start at your state level. Look at the NPC and online, NPC online, and see what competition you want to participate in. You're going to get your card, your NPC card. It's going to be good for 1 year, just 2019 to 2010. Basically, you're getting 1 year out of that. So if you decide not to compete until November, your card is done. So I highly recommend picking something in April or so that you can do more. Because you're going to be in amazing shape and you work so hard, you don't want to just do one show.
Right.
Or maybe you do, but either way, sometimes it's a little bit more bang for your buck if you kind of start it out at the beginning of the year and let it ride through. And then it keeps you on track too, knowing you have some other competitions coming up. So first that. Second, know what division you want to compete in. I started out in figure. Because bikini didn't exist when I started doing competitions. So figure I started at. And then I actually enjoyed the look of bikini better for myself and the training for bikini.
Okay.
So I had no problem like transitioning from figure to bikini once that became available. And then also make sure obviously, if you can't afford to get a trainer or you can't afford to get a diet plan, make sure you're doing the research, because really that's what it mostly comes down to is, first of all, it's going to be your nutritional plan, and then what kind of weights you should be, how much you should be training, and how heavy you should be lifting.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that answers that question. The nutrition, and there's just so much stuff out there. Is there any advice? Because you can go on the internet and you can type in, nutrition plan. What would be your advice to kind of weed out the bad, if anything, or just like you said, just continue to do research?
Well, no, that's a great question, because first of all, nutrition plans are difficult because of the fact that everybody has a different idea of what they want in their diet. Sometimes I've done so many nutritional plans for people and they're like, oh, but I'm a vegetarian, or, I can't have fish, or, and that changes it completely. So first of all, look at what you want as far as your nutritional needs, or your allergies or things you can't have. Second of all, make sure the calories are not too high, because a lot of people think, oh, okay, well, I'm having, this great mass gainer protein shake, but if you're trying to lean out, that's probably not the best thing. I always say, when I'm trying to lean out, I try and do my body weight in protein. Okay. And that's my lean body weight. So let's say I weigh 110 pounds. I don't know. I really don't know what I weigh. Isn't that funny? I don't weigh myself. So I do know I'm not over 110. I can tell. But so let's say right now I weigh 110 and my lean body mass is around 100. So I'm going to try and get 100 grams of protein a day.
Okay.
And, you can be as specific as writing it out. I like to tell people, you bite it, you write it.
Yeah.
If you're really wanting to try and count your macros or figure out what you need to be doing, of course, it's going to be different based on your height, if you're a male or female, your age, your activity level. So, there's websites out there. You can enter that all in. But as a rule of thumb for me, that's what I go by.
And I think usually, too, if you're going to get into competitions, there's a large enough network that you can find people. Like you said, you've written up nutritional workout or programs before for people. There's a large network out there that you can find the right people to put a program together for you.
Absolutely.
If you're really, I think if you're going to go into competitions and, like you said, put the time in, spend the money, do it the right way.
Absolutely.
Utilize the network that's out there of the people that are out there, and get people to get you a nutrition plan, a workout plan, all of those things.
Right.
I get it. You don't want to, some people just don't have that, disposable income, but there are ways of doing it and being smart about it. I guess, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Do the research. And the crazy thing is most of the nutrition plans I wrote up weren't even people that were competing, you know?
Okay, so
it's always an option for everybody, you
Yeah.
know? It's a great way to jumpstart something or figure out, okay, first of all, nutritional plans are usually kind of like a Groundhog Day, you know, like you're
Yeah, I
pretty
know.
much eating around the same amount, about the same type of food. And if you're okay with that to get you started and then try and add other things in, it's definitely worth it.
So you said you and this you're actually leading into more questions, which is good, because you mentioned you wrote them for people that aren't competing. So I'm just an average person. I want to go to the gym or I want to start working out. What's your advice to somebody that might not have that self-confidence, or they are very self-aware and they're concerned of like going to the gym and it's not a comfortable experience for them? Somebody that goes to the gym often and then is also in the industry. What's your advice to people like that?
That's a really good question, because I feel like sometimes when we are so involved in an industry, we just feel like everybody understands it or knows how to use a certain equipment, or knows what macros are, you know, things like that. But definitely YouTube, first of all, is
YouTube's
amazing.
great.
I mean, you know, if you don't know how to do a power clean and you want to try a power clean, watch it on YouTube, practice it. Don't feel embarrassed going into a gym, because even veterans like myself that are in a gym all the time, there's so many times I go up to a piece of equipment, I'm like,
Let's see how this thing works.
yeah, then I'm sitting there like trying to pull out a pin that's not even a pin and it's just a bolt, you know? So don't feel like you're, you know, alone in that. I would definitely say YouTube. I would say reach out to some other people online. Most of the people that are in fitness industries and supplement industries, they're here to help people.
Yeah.
So if you have questions, you know, that's one of the great things about Instagram, is that we're definitely willing to help. And that's one of the things that sets RSP apart, is that our customer service is not just about our supplements. If you have questions about like articles, if you go on our website, we have a ton of articles on there that are going to help people with some of the different, you know, I don't like calling them fad diets. So it's more like a nutritional kind of idea of what they might want to try, you know, if it's keto plan.
I was going to say that's big right now. I was about to just say like the keto.
Like the keto.
Yeah.
And it is big. And if it's something you want to try, research. Yes, RSP has two great and more coming keto products that are definitely worth adding in. We actually have MTC oil as well now. So just kind of know what plan you want to do. You don't have to be an expert. You know, we all, even on a keto diet for myself, it's like, what is it? I don't do the keto diet, but I'm just saying, like, learning about it, because obviously I sell the product. So I have to get familiar with it. So if it's something you want to do, definitely do research, reach out to people. They're willing to help. And YouTube. I mean, I've learned a lot on YouTube myself.
I use YouTube a lot for motivation too. So I go to the gym at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh my.
Yeah. So I wake up at 4:00. They're not here today. They're at church with my wife, but I have two young kids. So if I don't go basically in the middle of the night, I can't go, because I wake up and if they're awake, we take care of the kids, got to get them off school. I go to work, and then working out at night is basically not an option at this point of how old they are. If not, I'm going to work out at 8:00 at night, and I'm not taking pre-workout at 7:30, 8:00 at night. I won't sleep. So YouTube I use in the morning when I'm sitting on my couch and I'm drinking my pre-workout. I'll watch YouTube videos of people it's the craziest thing, right? But basically watching people work out. And that will motivate me to then be like, all right, like, you're getting the blood flowing now. You're going to go to the gym. These guys are working out. I don't know. It's like a mental thing for me. So I use YouTube a lot.
That's smart.
I love
Whatever it takes. I mean, and the last thing I would say too, based on that, is if you're not comfortable, hire a personal trainer. I honestly, after 10 years of being a personal trainer, it's smart for you to watch a personal trainer yourself before you hire somebody and see if that's the style. All personal trainers have different styles. I don't care. We are all different on how we like to train or how we like to motivate people. So watch somebody and see if that person, first of all, is motivating you, if you like what they're doing, or maybe you don't like what they're doing, but you're excited to try it, that sort of a thing. It'll obviously help with safety factors too. Or maybe it's just you want to ask a personal trainer to say, hey, I don't really want you to train me. I just want you to go around with me and show me the different equipment. Like how do I use this equipment? Which would count as a session, but you don't need a so-called plan. You just want to go in there. And sometimes if you don't even have a personal trainer that does it, depends on your gym, but they'll have people at the gym that will go around and show you how to do it. And don't be embarrassed by that,
I think that's great advice, what you said. If you don't want them to train you, right? Most gyms, if you go and join a gym, and we're talking about this to start the year, because you go to a gym, there's going to be a lot of people, their New Year's resolution is going to be, I'm going to start working out. You go to a gym, most often the first session is a free session because they want you to use their trainers, but use it in a beneficial way for you. If you don't want to potentially go into paying for a personal trainer and you have that free session, go and find out how the equipment works. And like you said, don't be embarrassed by it, because you've been going to the gym for a majority of your life. And you said earlier, there's still machines that you're like, how does this thing even work? Or an exercise you don't know how to do. My advice too would be anybody that tries to get into certain lifts. You mentioned, was it power cleans you said?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever.
Throw
right?
it out there.
Anyway,
Power cleans, yes.
If you get into, because I know Olympic style lifting is getting much more popular again. Whereas for a while there, it was just like do beach muscles, do bench press and curls and make your upper body. But like with CrossFit and other things, I see a lot more people now doing your deadlifts, your power cleans, your clean and snatch, like all these Olympic style lifts. Do it with the bar before. Like don't put weight on it to get the movement, because like you said, if you don't know how to do it, what I see a lot, and I don't know, and I'm sure you see the same thing, but I don't want to speak for you or assume it. But what I see a lot, and I've been going to the gym, I've been an athlete my whole life, so I've been in the weight room basically since I was 14 years old. So it's 20 years. I see a lot of people doing exercises wrong, and they go in there and put too much weight on, and they hurt themselves. Because they want to look like the person next to them,
absolutely.
Because, well, I don't want to look silly. I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm doing. So I like that advice of like, go and use the personal trainer to talk to you about the equipment. And then from there, decide if you want to use the trainer or not. But I think that's really good advice. I had never thought of it that way. Like, yeah, use this session to have them show you around the gym. Because even if you're in great shape, there are people that just don't like going to the gym. They don't like having people look at them. Like there are certain gyms here in Charlotte that I know of that have, and I'll use women, for example, that have their own female room because some females don't want to be looked at or judged, or they just don't like that feeling of the gym. So my advice, and I'll let you continue if there's anything else, but my advice would be, one, don't be embarrassed because you're at least there.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? Like no one's making fun of you. And if they are, they're just a complete asshole anyways. And they're going to make fun of anybody just because.
And they're probably doing it wrong themselves.
And they're probably doing it wrong themselves. Or they're probably doing it to mask some of their own insecurities as well.
Absolutely.
But if you're there and working out, don't be intimidated, because even the people that are there all the time, like I make friends at the gym, and then we help each other as well. Right? So like a guy from work, his son started going to the gym again, and he was like, my son's a little worried to go like to the free weight area because there's all these big guys. And his advice to his son was like, they'll help you, man. He's like, because they see a kid like you at least wanting to try some of the stuff that they're doing, they will help you. So I would say utilize the people in the gym as well.
Absolutely. I ask questions all the time about my form, especially with the Olympic weight moves, only because it's kind of newer for me. I did have my certification in that. It's quick, and it's only 1 year long. It only lasts 1 year. So if you don't practice it, no matter how many YouTube videos you watch, you still have to know like the feeling and the right form. And so I'll pull somebody over that I know that is good at those moves, and I'll say, how am I doing on this? And because first of all, I'm 40 years old. I don't need to get hurt. Like, I'm not in there to get hurt.
Olympic
I'm
lifting.
in there to be in the best shape that I can be for my age and, everything like that. But I don't need to be getting hurt.
Don't get yourself hurt from being ignorant and not wanting to ask questions. All right. So as we go into January, and I just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. So we talked about competitions. We talked about just kind of the average person. Is there any other advice you'd give to anybody, a gym goer?
Yes. And this is the advice that I think is the most important to hear. And I pretty much thought about what my clients have told me that have worked for them over the years, and taken upon myself too, like what I know has helped me get in the best shape when I'm preparing for a competition or just in general. So I like to say, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. So if you're not ready, whether it's going to be for your meal prep, or if you don't have the supplement spot that you want to use to help you, or if you don't know what you're doing when you're walking into the gym, you should have some sort of plan in your head what you're going to be doing as far as your cardio that day or weight training or what you're lifting. So prepare, write it down if you need to. Just make sure you have the things that are going to help you be successful. For me, I'm on the road all the time with work, so I travel a lot. And if I didn't prepare my meals when in the car with me, I definitely know that I would get off track.
Yeah.
So that's really important. The second thing is, I already mentioned it. A lot of my clients like to say, have a journal. So I'd say, you bite it, you write it. I'm talking about the littlest thing, because when they have to say, oh, you know what, I had a bite of, a Reese peanut butter cup, it's still like, ooh, they have to hold themselves accountable. Or, writing it down, holding yourself accountable is definitely one of those things that if you do need somebody else, work with a friend or a personal trainer or somebody. But make sure you're writing it down yourself and holding yourself accountable.
Is there any apps that you use?
I do a lot of my I don't personally use any apps, but a lot of my clients would use the MyFitnessPal, or just even the tracking it now on their Apple Watches or Fitbits and things like that.
There's plenty of places you can be old school and write it down in a journal, right? Whatever. I like that the holding yourself accountable. So I work out with a friend of mine, and what helps me is that, again, wake up at 4:00 in the morning. It's very easy if I would just press snooze, but what I hold myself accountable is I know he's going to show up and he knows I'm going to show up.
Right.
And so that's motivating enough for me to go, I don't want to let my friend down, right? Like, he's getting up at the same time I am to get there. We don't have to be there at 4:30 in the morning. We're choosing to be there at 4:30 in the morning so we can work out together.
Right.
So it is, even if you don't have a workout partner, just some type of accountability, you're saying.
Yep.
If you take a bite of something, just write it down. And it creates good habits. Meal prep. Meal prep's hard. And Lindsay and I do meal prep, and if you have to be disciplined, because it will take a few hours.
It does, yes.
And with 2 kids, like, it usually is like, okay, which ones are you going to prepare? Which ones am I going to prepare? And then who's going to watch the kids while you do this prep and I do this prep? Because it takes, we do it on Sundays, and it'll take 3, 4, 5 hours on a Sunday.
It definitely can be time consuming, but
so
it's beneficial.
It's beneficial
because
because
your meals ready for the week.
Right. And I don't come home on like a Thursday and be like, we don't have anything in the fridge and I don't want to cook anything tonight. Oh, what are we going to go buy? And then it's usually like Chinese food or a pizza, and it's like, shit.
Yes.
I ruined the entire week because I got lazy. But meal prep, I think, is important. It's hard. You have to be very disciplined to do it, but again, accountability.
Right.
I talk about it all the time on this show and just with my friends. Like, everyone all the time is like, dude, why do you get up at 4:00 in the morning? I'm like, because now for the last year plus, that's just my routine.
What you
That's
do.
what I do. Now, I haven't seen 10 o'clock at night in a long, long time
Yes.
because I go to bed basically
to-
right after my
right.
kids go to bed. But I think, too, having a routine and you start doing that, you create your own disciplines. Even if it's you don't have a workout partner or you
Yep.
don't have somebody holding you accountable, hold yourself accountable, right?
Yes.
If you want to achieve something, you eventually have to hold yourself accountable. You can't have other people making sure that they're holding
Yeah.
you accountable. You have to have some
Absolutely.
self-awareness, I guess, to
Yeah.
be accountable
You
for
can
yourself.
only lead a horse to water. You can't force him to drink.
There you go.
I would say the other thing that I found that I think is really awesome to see as a more like a visual type of aspect is like you hear dues paid. Oh, dues paid. People post that all the time on Instagram after working out at the gym. Well, dues paid mean you went in there and you got the job done, right? So coming home, if you set a goal, let's say every time you go to the gym, you put $1 in the jar. And after you've got, you did it for the whole month, at the end of the month, say you went to the gym 20 times. Use that $20, get something that is fitness related for yourself.
Yeah.
Whether it's a new pair of socks or if it's going to get, clean juice or tropical smoothie or, new protein RSP supplement, using it that way. If you don't want to use money, use a visual aspect. Maybe it's every time you go to the gym, you pick up a rock outside and you put it in a jar and you say, look at all these rocks I'm claiming because I went, and I paid my dues. A lot of people like to see, the results and building up. So I think that's a great way to also visually or be able to reward yourself every day with a pat on the back.
I like that idea. I never really thought of it. For me, I use Fit Plan app, and that's where I get my, and what I try and do is I don't like missing days. Right, because like if you open it up and press train, it opens up the day of whatever you're supposed to be working out, and you can skip ahead. But every time you open it, even if you skipped ahead, that next day you open it, it opens up the workout that you didn't do. Oh. So for me, it's like go get those workouts done because it's going to constantly remind you, hey, remember you didn't do this day.
Right.
You went ahead, that's fine, but you never did this day. You should do this day, so then it can make it back on track again. So I use that as well for myself. You have kids, you've mentioned a few times, and you're in this, the fitness world. What advice, I don't want to say advice, because we've been talking about advice a lot. What have you learned in your career that you implement to your kids? Because, you mentioned your son plays baseball. Your daughter...
Yep, she's a pole vaulter in high school and track.
Geez. Okay,
yep.
So track and field.
Yep, she's a freshman.
So do they look at mom and go, teach me? Or do you have you done something or from what you've learned that you've put into their lives in sports and fitness?
Absolutely. I think, that I could say that they would say that my hard work ethic will transfer over, and that I tell them no matter what, you need to be out there, whether it's at practice, whatever you're doing by yourself where nobody's watching you is what you're going to do when everybody's watching you. And the first thing is that whether it's in school, whether it's at a job one day, whether it's in sports, you're first representing yourself. You're your own brand.
Yeah.
And what you do is really going to set the tone for how you do it for anything other, the big days, the little days, whatever. So first of all, being your brand yourself is more important. I mean, I remember in college, I had a thing I had to do. It was, you didn't get any points for it. It was just like, if you want to try this, try it. And I put so much time in it. My roommate's like, why are you putting so much effort into this? It doesn't even count for anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, because I know, it's like you personally know whether or not you gave 110%, whether it counts for something or not. I think everything counts.
Yeah.
Because it really comes back onto you as your personality. As far as, out as sports events, I'm a highly competitive person in anything, in life in general. So, I tell them confident and cocky in your mind and kindness and caring in your actions. So
that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, because you have to have that cocky and confident attitude. You have to mentally. I'm huge on Mind Gym is one of my favorite books out there. If you haven't read it, it's a great book.
Okay.
A Mind Gym, and the mental aspect of anything in life is so important. So being confident and cocky really does help build you up, kind of like the fake it till you make it kind of aspect, But you also don't want to be out there and having that arrogance look or the way you're talking to somebody. So it's still have your actions being kind and caring.
If you hold yourself with a confidence, people can see that. And if you hold yourself with a cockiness, people can see that. And there's a difference between confident and cocky.
Absolutely, there is.
And that goes for anything. That goes in business, in day-to-day life, in sports. You can tell the difference between someone who's confident in their abilities and someone that's just cocky. And you can see right through that person that's cocky. And a lot of the times they're cocky because they have insecurities that they're trying to mask. Right. Whereas the person who's confident is just confident in their ability to do it. And it might come off arrogant, but and I get told that at work a lot too. It's like people are just like, I'm surprised your head can fit through the door. And it's like, that's fine. I'm like, it's funny to me because they don't truly mean it, but it's more of like, it's just, if you have that confidence, people see that, and it's not this cockiness, but if you're confident in what you're doing, that's what I'm getting at.
Right. No, I think that's 100% right. If other people like people that are confident, other people don't like people that are cocky. There's two totally different things.
You isolate
so you have to be
quickly.
In your head both, know, but exhume the confidence.
Yep.
That's the most important thing.
All right, so let's get back to RSP,
Sure.
And then we're going to switch gears just a little bit. What is your favorite part of your job?
I mean, I would say just the interaction with people on a daily basis, getting to help people, answering their questions, and knowing that what the advice that I'm giving them is truly going to be something that I think they're going to take back, and whether they use it or not, I know that it would be beneficial to them. As far as like in the corporate big business aspect of it, I would say what most people hate doing is getting up, and I love presenting in front of a large group of people.
Really? Okay.
I love it. I thrive on it. I think it comes back from my teaching days where I'm used to getting up and having a lesson plan prepared and speaking, whether or not it's to kids or adults. To me, it's all the same thing. I'm wanting to get my point across, not make it boring, and make it educational and something they're going to take back with them. So
I think that goes back to what we just talked about too, of that confidence, right? People that can speak in front of a large crowd, they just have that confidence about them that their heart might be pounding internally, but they don't show it outwardly, or they might be as calm as they can possibly be, and you see that, and it's confident, and like you said, you like doing that, you thrive on that. It's something that you enjoy doing, that's rare to hear, because most people are always like, I don't like talking in front of a crowd, I get nervous. And I used to, and I got advice from a podcast I was listening to, and the person was basically like, what finally got me over like talking in front of a crowd and like being vulnerable was, who gives a shit? Like,
right.
These people you might never see again, and if they don't want to listen to what you're saying, they're not going to listen anyways. So who really cares? Like, you're there to do something, just go do it. So I started implementing that at work and also this too, right? Like, I tell every guest that comes on, I'm like, one, you got to be vulnerable because people will see through that, and we have conversations, and I talk about a lot of things on here that are personal and my own opinions. 2 cents worth is the name of the podcast. It goes into that, and then also for speaking is in front of a large crowd or a crowd in general. I just kind of stopped caring what people thought of me, which is very freeing, by the way.
Yes.
When you stop caring about what other people think, that's a very liberating feeling, because I want to surround myself with the people that like being around me, and they're going to like being around me for the person that I am. Whether it's, I'm not going to be fake of who I am.
Right. And you're not going to please everybody anyway, so you must as well
it's
be
impossible.
yourself.
It's impossible.
Absolutely.
Hardest part of being in the supplement industry, because it is a very flooded industry. What is the hardest part? Especially because I think your company is a great example of it, because you said you're a newer company, right? And you're trying to get into the market. And when they first started, you had the CEO and the president going basically to do their own demos, right? So they're building it from the ground up. What's the hardest part in this industry?
Definitely that it's nonstop changing. Like you better keep up with the trends. And that's again what RSP is really good about doing is, knowing what customers are liking and what, like we talked about the keto diet was popular. So of course you better be coming out with keto products. Also how social media has changed everything for us, you would, back in the day, if you had a favorite bodybuilder, you got the magazine, you looked up their workouts. Now you can follow them on Instagram, you can follow them on Facebook. So for us, the challenge and for me is, staying fresh, making sure that we set ourselves apart from other companies through not just our ingredients and our taste and our supplements, but as far as like our customer service and that we're there to help them. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the biggest challenge is our industry changes literally almost overnight. Mm-hmm.
I can imagine. So I told you guys we would touch on it. I want to touch on it now. What separates RSP from your competition?
I definitely think I kind of just said a little bit about that is that we are constantly listening to our customer feedback, and that's why it's so important for us to hear from you guys, because we do take in consideration of what you guys think about not just our products or things that you see out there that why don't we have this, or can you think about using this, whether it's a supplement itself or sometimes you'll say things about like how we can improve our Instagram or our Facebook page. So definitely, or our website, it's RSP sets ourselves apart because not only we have really great, effective ingredients, and they're clean. They're very clean. We've also gone into a very natural line, so we're expanding that way. So it reaches out to a large group of people. I say RSP Nutrition. It's even though it stands for Revolutionary Sports Performance, and you think, oh, athletes. That's not true. Yeah. Literally, we have products for everybody. Whether it's even my kids. My daughter takes glutamine. I mean, she needs it for her joints. Yeah. There's joint support. Grandma takes BioVite. It's our multivitamin. So it doesn't matter if you're not using them as far as if you don't feel like you're in the athlete or you're not working out. There's still things out there that RSP can supply. And also just even advice in general. So I think we set ourselves apart by just being one of those brands that is a lifestyle brand, and that can help pretty much everybody.
What's the website?
www.rspnutrition.com.
And you can see all their products there, and then also what's in every product, and then what's the benefits of the product, what's it supposed to do. And then there's articles on there as well.
Yes. Yes.
And they have a really good rewards program as well. So if you buy product, there's usually a reward card inside of the product that you can earn points. And it gets you anything from, I've gotten like 3 or 4 free t-shirts because of the amount of points that I've gotten, or free shipping. So again, it kind of goes into, the voice of the customer as well. And I think you guys do a really good job of that, of interaction wise. I mentioned, the customer service team sends me emails a lot, but they want to interact with us. Instagram, they're very interacting with anybody that, will tag them in anything. I like the fact that you have a company like that actually will interact with people, right? Because like, I'll use myself for an example. I'm just a regular guy. I've never done competitions. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not your, like you said, this athlete, right? I'm a 34-year-old ex-Division II baseball player, right? Like I'm not this incredible specimen, but they still interact with you. They want to know, what you like about the products and get the feedback on it. I think that's great because there are so many large companies that it's a machine, right? I mean, they're just there to pump things out and get it on the shelves and get it sold and, constant. So,
I mean, if you ask us a question, we're going to respond. We're not just going to give you a like or a thumbs up or a heart, I mean, that's easy to do. We're definitely going to answer your question. We'll probably even send you a direct message. If you have feedback or if you have questions, we're going to make sure that you're taken care of.
Yeah. That's great. Anything else that we didn't touch on RSP? Because I do want to switch gears and talk about 2019.
I'm just going to say, if you haven't tried RSP products, and I know I work for the company, but seriously, they will help you reach your goals. It's definitely one of those companies that if you haven't tried it, you're missing out. Just give it a go. Like you said, if you're looking for a protein, that True Fit Cinnamon Churro is a great start. And a lot of people, don't understand supplements yet, but it's definitely gotten so much better as far as people branching out. So ask us questions. We'll get you the product that's right for you. There's so many out there, like you said, so many options, even just in an RSP alone. But we're definitely willing to help you pick the right one.
And like you said, it doesn't have to be workout related, right? Like grandma uses the multivitamin. Right?
Absolutely.
Kids for the joints, or if you just have joint problems, there's, joint support and the glutamine, and there's other things. And again, there's a write-up on it. Or if you're confused by something, you can reach out to the company and they'll answer your questions.
Absolutely.
That's great. Okay, so let's get into 2019.
Yeah. Let's go,
because
2019.
we're in 2019. Workout plans. What? Well, I'll let you start. What's a workout plan that you would give to somebody to jumpstart the year? Because we're in that New Year's resolution time frame where I'm gonna go to the gym. But what are you gonna do? Right? Yeah.
Well, that is a tough question because there's so many people at all the different fitness levels. Some people don't even go to a gym. Some people are, working out in their home. So my best advice, again, is something that the internet, and you can look up you can literally look up, workouts to do at home. It's having a plan. For me, my fitness plans are always around 6 weeks long.
Okay.
I do post them on my Instagram, which again, it's at @FitFirstLady _RSP. And my fitness plans, I like HIIT type workouts. I don't have time, as you know, I have a full-time job. I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I have to get going. I can't be at the gym for hours. And sometimes it's lucky if I do get there. So I like to try and get as much workout as I can, keep my heart rate up. So some days I'll do, good amount of cardio, and other days, which is my favorite, is weight training. But throughout there, I usually have, a variety of different exercises. And the best part is you don't have to be a veteran. You can be a beginner. You can be, any age group, any ability. And all you have to do is just like, if I say, we're going to run a half a mile, or if I say treadmill half mile, well, my half mile might, take me 3-4 minutes to do. But it's okay if your half mile takes you 10. What we're doing is we're just completing a program. And then after that, you when you're tracking, the weights, the amount of weights you're doing, the 6 weeks when it's over, as you're tracking it, you can redo the programs. I mean, these things are total body movements, things to get your heart rate up, things to help you. My programs, I will say, are mostly to help you lean out, keep you lean.
Okay.
So if you're looking to bulk up, you might want to stick with, something that's going to be more of a weight training base with heavy amount of weights. I personally like to do a lot of CrossFit moves, but I don't do a heavy amount when I'm doing like my squats or things like that, because personally for me, I just want to keep my muscle mass growing, but not overly done, I guess.
Okay. You mentioned HIIT. So for a show that, when this one comes out, will already be out, I have the top 10 fitness trends for 2019 and 18. So in 2018, this past year, HIIT was the number one trend. And for 2019, they're predicting HIIT will be the number 3 trend. And it's not program-wise, it's anything. So wearable technology is going to be the number 1 trend for 2019 in fitness.
Nice.
Wearable technology.
That's great.
Group training is number 2.
Okay.
HIIT training, which is high intensity interval training for anybody that doesn't know it. So think of, 30 seconds on, 10 seconds off. You do 30 seconds of high intensity workout, and then you rest for 10 seconds, or 30 seconds, 10 seconds, right? Or 40-20, or whatever it is. Fitness programs for older adults, number 4. Body weight training. So you mentioned people that don't go to the gym, you work out at home. There are plenty of body weight programs on YouTube. You can, if you want to actually buy programs, there's a lot of them on Beachbody has them. There's so much stuff out there.
Yeah.
You can find body weight stuff. Employing certified fitness professionals, number 6. So actually getting a personal trainer.
Okay.
Yoga is 7. You mentioned you don't stretch,
I've been adding yoga on my New Year's resolution for years, everybody. And
Okay.
I'm going to just say that is one that I keep failing at. Again, it's one of those things you have to keep as a habit or force yourself to do,
I used to do it P90X3. We used to be Lindsay used to be a Beachbody coach. We have P90X3 and 30 minutes of yoga. And it actually
was good.
It was good.
It was good.
It was hard, but I would do it every week, and it was good. I haven't done yoga in a long time. Personal training, number 8. Functional fitness training, number 9. So talk about like Beachbody, and you talk about CrossFit. Those functional, not just one movement anymore. Where deadlifts, squats,
rows,
bench, whatever. Right. So, and then exercise is medicine. I don't know what that means. I'm going to read it.
I was just going to say.
I don't know. It says
more
exercise,
mind, body,
Exercise is Medicine is ACSM's own global health initiative that encourages healthcare providers to get their patients on an exercise regimen.
Gotcha.
Interesting. And analyze physical activity as part of a regular checkup. So if you're going to go and get a physical or just go and get a regular checkup, they're going to do some type of exercise regimen to analyze you. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could see how they could go hand in hand for sure.
Yeah. All right. So 6-week programs. You can find them on your Instagram. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because what I was going to ask is where can somebody that wants to do what Melissa's doing?
Right. So absolutely. I usually post them on my story at the top, and then I save them to my highlights, which is titled My Workouts.
Okay. Cool.
And then in my recipes, I have usually the nutritional plan that I'll do that goes with it.
All right. Because I was going to ask, what diet and nutrition plan would you suggest? But just follow her.
Yeah, just follow me. But also, again, this is something that I tell people, it's really a preference. As long as you know what's working for you, what might not, some of the stuff I have on there, it might not be something you want to even try. But as long as you're doing something, as long as you have a plan, that's the important part, and keeping it within your goals. So personally, this is terrible. I don't like fruit. So you will not see fruit in my nutritional plans. And that's just because I don't like it. It's full of sugar to me. It doesn't fill me up. I'm just not a fan of fruit. I know so many people that eat fruit as a part of their, fruit should be included, So that's why I like True Fit, because it does have my organic fruits in there. So I'm at least getting some kind of fruit.
It buries it in there and masks the flavor for you.
Yes. And I'm not getting all those sugars. It's one of those things that it's a personal, sometimes, preference on what you're including in there. So,
go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to admit that I also have, it'll be 2 years in May, I guess, that I do intermittent fasting.
Okay, so we talked about keto, and intermittent fasting it's big right now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways to do it. No,
right.
I guess there's a lot of ways. Yeah. However you do it hour-wise, it doesn't mean you don't eat all day. Because there's some that will say, go 16 hours without eating.
Right.
And then there's others where it's like 600 calories in the morning, coffee, sometime mid-afternoon, 500 calories, and then your big meal's dinner. But at least you're eating and getting nutrition throughout the day. Because I've seen others, people just go to the extreme, and it's like, I eat dinner, and that's all I eat. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. Yes. No,
you're
definitely
not getting anything all day?
No. I don't follow that. I do more of the reason I chose why I do like the intermittent fasting is because at night, I shut it down in the evening and I'm good with not eating until at least 12 or 1 the next day.
Okay.
And that's because I used to eat breakfast, but I always had my 2 eggs with one, and then I had 1 yolk and with some spinach in there. And it really never filled me up anyway. I love breakfast, but I'm just not a big breakfast eater in the morning. I'm good with having my coffee. I like to get up and know that I'm doing my cardio without having, the sugars and the carbs.
You're doing a fasted cardio.
And some people can't make that, and that's fine. Like it's a preference thing. It doesn't bother me one bit that I gave up having my breakfast in the morning. And sometimes, like if I'm hungry, after I'm done working out, it's sure I'll come home and eat. And if it's 10, fine. If it's 9, fine, whatever. It doesn't always have to be during that time. I actually have found that I do like doing my fasted cardio.
Benefits to it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the benefits, definitely the benefits is, of course, you don't have the sugars and the carbs and stuff already in your body to, use as fuel that you're going to burn off. So that's the negative side, is that you're not having that fuel. So I like my coffee. So it gives me the fuel I need. And I'm good with it. But read up on intermittent fasting and see if it's right for you, or if it's something that you want to try.
Yeah. I would suggest try it 1 or 2 times a week to start. Don't go, you can if you want to go full bore into it, but kind of work it in, and then 3-4 times a week. And then all of a sudden it just becomes your regular diet. And like you said, it becomes easy to kind of just drop a meal, right? Like it wasn't hard for you to be like, all right, I don't eat the breakfast anymore.
Right.
I can drop that meal and it's fine. But to me, not eating till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I feel like I'd starve myself.
Yeah, no, I definitely, it's a challenge. I usually do around that 12, but, and then of course you eat throughout the whole time. And then I usually eat till like 8:30 at night.
Because it's what, basically 8 or 9 hours of just, that's your time to eat, while then the other 16 hours of the day you don't eat. And
this is not new. This is something that it's not even a diet. It's a, more of a nutritional schedule, and it's been around since people fast for religion and everything like that. So it's
nothing new.
It's nothing new.
It's just it's popular now.
Of why.
Yeah, and it's popular now because certain people start doing it, and then all of a sudden it can become more and more popular.
And if it's working for people, then it probably works, for the majority of whoever's doing it, and they're just loud about it.
Yeah, of course.
Like myself.
Right. That's where we are. It's 2019. All right, so for any listeners here in Charlotte, we stick to the gyms. What gyms, studios would you recommend they try, and why?
That's a great question, and I think this kind of can branch out to any city, not just Charlotte. Charlotte has a ton, as you know, of options. And I think of gym shopping like I do car shopping.
Okay.
So if you are going to find a car, Ryan, for you and your family, you're going to probably get something different than what I'm getting for mine.
Yeah.
Because, different ages, we do both have, 2 kids, but compared to somebody that might be single, no kids. So it's the same thing. If you're going to a gym and you have a family, you might want to be able to take your whole family. So you might want something that's more like of a YMCA or a Lifetime, or the gyms that provide childcare activities for the kids. Or maybe you're the type of person that just wants to go in. You don't want anybody to be there. You want to be able to go. Maybe you work swing shift and you're working out in the middle of the night. You want to be able to have full access to a gym with your pod and get in and get out whenever you want. My advice to people that are trying to find a gym or a CrossFit gym type of culture, maybe it's just a gym that's really good at group exercises, is try them out. This is the time. Yeah. They're going to let you come in for free.
There's going to be a lot of free memberships.
They're going to get discounted memberships. Don't just go in and settle. For me, this is like my sanctuary, like I love my gym time. I need it to be a place that I'm excited about going. Because at the end of the day, I need to make sure that it has the equipment I need. And not only that, the vibe. To me, a vibe at a gym is a lot too.
Yeah.
So test them out. This is your opportunity. You don't have to settle on the day one. Think it over, compare them, see what works best for your budget, what works best for your family, and just kind of weigh out the odds.
And then what reaches what goal you're trying to accomplish, right?
Absolutely.
Because you can go to a cycle gym.
Right.
But that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
You want to bike. That's how I want to work out. Okay.
That's it.
You don't need to go to a big box gym that has all this weight that you're never going to use, because you just want that certain particular class or a yoga studio. Do you go and do special guest appearances? Do you go to any gyms and do any training?
Ooh, I have not done that in a
No?
while. I think mostly because of the fact that it's almost sort of like a liability,
Yeah.
since I'm not fully working for them. And then when I do work out with certain people, I've gotten pulled aside like, are you training them? Like, I'm like, no, I used to be a trainer for 10 years. I'm not trying to overcome your business,
Yeah.
like
Oh.
I'm not trying to do any side jobs here, So for me, when I have like helped out, it's always been, just fun for
Yeah.
free,
Okay.
I'm definitely, when somebody's like, hey, can you train me? I honestly don't have the time to do that. It's hard for me to even fit it in for myself, but that's why I use the Instagram or people have questions. I like to be able to help them out that way.
You mentioned that. That's one of the rules that's on the walls in our gym is like no other outside personal training allowed. It's like,
They're
are you
picky.
really that? I mean, I get it, the liability aspect of it, but it's like, are you really that worried that, well, then maybe you should get better trainers.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's my opinion on it.
No, I agree. I
Like if you're too
absolutely-
concerned that people are going to come in and train your customers, then maybe you should get better personal trainers
Yeah.
that they'll actually want to use.
I'm not trying to undercut you.
Yeah,
Like-
no, that's great. All right, so we're gonna finish this off outside of fitness, but before I do that, is there
Oh.
anything that we haven't covered that you want to address?
Did we talk about the goal setting? The one thing that I find that's really important for
No.
setting goals. Okay. So because it's, everyone's got new year, new you, new goals. And I'm just focusing on fitness goals right now. But of course, during your goal setting, you want to think about your financial goals, your relationship goals, your mental goals, your spiritual goals, and maybe it's your career goals, whatever. Think about including this into your fitness or health goals. So one of the things that I found that works is setting what we call a short-term goal. So first week, maybe you're downloading this podcast and it's, let's say you're listening to it 1 week from the day that you're listening to it. I want you to write down what your goal is going to be for that 1 week. Maybe
Okay.
it's to go to the gym 4 times out of that week. Post it wherever you're going to see it. If you don't want anybody to see it, you're going to post it in an envelope.
Okay.
Yep. So you put 1 week on it.
Oh, she
2000
brought an envelope.
I brought an envelope because I'm giving these to you, Ryan, for
Okay.
you and your family.
All right, cool.
So you put your 1 week goal in here. And I use envelopes because sometimes I don't want anybody else to know my goals, but
Yeah.
I want it to be in there and I want to be able to open it as like a gift after 1 week to see if I finished it.
Okay.
So 1 week goal, if it's something you don't mind putting up, put it on the fridge. That's fine too. I like being able to share certain goals with people, but not everybody needs to know my goals. So then the next one would be your 1 month goal. So you're going to write down your 1 month goal, again, post it or put it in an envelope. After that 1 month, you're going to open it.
Okay.
Now, I don't do any other goal setting in advance besides the 6 month and your year for your 2019.
Okay.
What you're going to do is after each month, you're going to set the second month and then the third month, and because you need to know where you're at the end
Right.
of the first month. So, but always include your halfway year goal and then what your goal is for 2019. And that's the fun part, because on New Year's Eve in
New Year's Eve.
2019, you get to open up this envelope.
Okay.
And there's no better gift than opening an envelope where you just demolished and kicked ass,
Yeah,
right?
that'd be great.
I mean, that's a great way to end the year. So looking back and reflecting and seeing what you did. So definitely goal setting is really important, short-term, long-term, and then, like I said, not just fitness goals, but overall goals.
So I do that with my team at work. So I have a group of people that work for me, and I don't make them, but I highly suggest to them that I want them to write down short-term professional and personal goals and long-term professional and personal goals. And they can share it with me or they can share it with their peers. But I'm a true believer of then when you do that, again, we talked about accountability. Now you're holding yourself accountable because you wrote it down. And now you're having other people hold you accountable to try and help you reach your goals. And there's some statistic out there, and I'll probably get it wrong, but it's like people are 40% more likely to accomplish something when they write it down versus when they
Absolutely.
don't write something down. So 40% might not seem like a lot, but it's a lot better than 0% of writing something down. You're more likely to accomplish it. There's like 6 envelopes she brought me. So
I'm
that's
gonna
great.
check back on
Hey,
New Year's Eve.
well,
We're gonna
you did say that you might not recognize me the next time we see each other. So if you do check in and be like, we've never met. I don't know who you are. If I'm not meeting my
I
goals.
don't know you.
Anything else?
I think that we covered a lot of the stuff that, again, reach out to me if you have questions. I'm happy to answer any of the questions that you might have about supplements in general, nutrition plan, workout plans. If there's something that you think would be beneficial too that I'm not posting, let me know. I had a lot of people say you didn't post your weights. How much weight did you do on that? And the reason I never did that was because I just didn't want you guys to feel like you had to do those weights.
So
when I post now, I was like, okay, they like to know a guideline. So I post my weight. So basically you use the amount and you can alter it the way what works best for you.
Okay. All right. I'm going to fast questions here. This is how we're going to finish.
Okay. Fun.
All right. So outside of fitness, being a parent, wife, your job, what does Melissa like to do for fun?
2 things, definitely, go to sporting events. Huge sports fan. Doesn't matter. I love watching almost every type of sports. So going to sporting events,
okay.
Tailgating before is always a bonus too. And then the second thing is my happy place is 100% at a nice resort pool, laying out with a book in my hand and a drink in the other.
There you go. Favorite restaurant anywhere?
Oh, anywhere. Gosh, there's so many great restaurants here in Charlotte. They're like based on drink, like starting from top to bottom, drink, appetizer, meal. I'm going with 131 Main.
131 Main.
Yes.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
They have really good cornbread with honey on top of it.
You got everything
really
you
good.
try there's
Yeah.
even my drink. So
yeah. Favorite place to travel?
So I'm going to go with the Grand Cayman Islands only because
Okay.
I was just recently there for my 40th birthday. So that was a big deal. And it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
we go to the Dominican. We're going again in July. Punta Cana. It's really nice.
nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm definitely not probably going to go back because I want it. There's so many other places I want to visit. But if you haven't checked out the Grand Cayman Islands, it's beautiful.
Have you ever been to St. Martin?
No.
So we went. So my buddy's, his father-in-law has a house there. So we've gone there before. Oh, it's incredible.
See,
Direct
there's
flight
so
too
many.
from Charlotte.
Same with Grand Cayman, by the
Okay.
way. Mm-hmm. So
all right.
definitely worth checking out.
You mentioned it as part of your restaurant. Favorite cocktail or beer? What's your
Okay.
favorite cocktail?
So I'm a whiskey and bourbon girl. So I
Wow,
usually
okay.
I know that shocks
Good
a lot
for
of
you.
people.
Good for
I mean,
you.
I'm in a fitness industry with almost all males, so it's like I
you
fit
have
right
to.
in. So, and I love it though. So usually I go with a Maker's and Diet.
Okay.
But I have been told by many people that I make the best meals they ever had. So I'm a pretty good meal maker.
Okay. Cool. All right. Last one. What are you looking most forward to in 2019?
I would say just interacting and meeting new people, finding out different opportunities and capitalizing on them, helping people, again, reach their goals and obviously set my own goals and reach them.
Okay. And then again, how people can reach you is at @fitfirstlady_RSP.
Correct.
And then you guys will see that on my Instagram as well. And then you traveling to vitamin shops and GNCs and fitness expos, I have to imagine, right?
Yep.
Throughout the whole year.
Absolutely. Yes.
So if you're going to any fitness expo that is going to have supplement companies at it, more than likely RSP is going to be there and you might be there as well.
Right.
And then like Melissa mentioned on Instagram, she does post a lot of like where she's going and what stores you might be at if you're going to be going and doing any demos or anything like that too. So people can find you.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions. Any questions for me?
Do you have your fitness goals set?
Do I have my fitness goal set? No, I don't have my fitness
Okay,
goal
so
set.
this is perfect.
So it is good. I don't have my fitness goal set. We are finishing up a 9-week program. We're in week 7. Week 7. So we got 3 weeks left. And then me and my buddy are going to figure out, what do we want to do next? What program, what length, what do we want to accomplish? Because So I mentioned going to the Dominican. So I'm going to the Dominican in July. He's going to the Bahamas in May. So both of us want to have that's the goal, is to get to, for him and I now, obviously for him, because it's now May, but by May reach the goal that we want. Now, what is that goal? I don't know. I mentioned it before on here. I'm right at 194, and I don't really weigh myself a lot anymore, because it's more of like, how do you look in the mirror versus what weight's going to tell you, because your weight can fluctuate so much and it doesn't really matter the weight. But I'd like to be more around like 185, so a little more lean, but keep my strength. The problem is that I like to drink a lot of beer, and I openly admit it. And the holidays, I've stuck to the 4 o'clock in the morning, but I've been drinking a lot more than I normally do.
Right.
So I will have to set my goals, and when I do, I'll let you know, and I'll let everybody else know. But no, I don't have my goals set right now.
Okay.
But now I have to be held accountable for it, so I will.
My last question is, when you become as famous as Dan Le Batard, can I be your Stu Gatz?
You can be whatever you want. Look, I tell everybody that comes on this, I'm like, and my buddy Matt is coming over to do this, and I joke, he's like my assistant. So he's coming just like sat and listen to other podcasts, and he'll just sit right there, and I call him my stat guy. Like, if I come up with something, I'm like, Matt, look this up for me. But yeah, absolutely.
So fun.
Hey, I'm all for people wanting to come on and be a part of this for more than once.
Yeah, it's fun.
I only have a network so big, so I might have to ask you again to come back, and maybe we do that soon. Because what we'll do is, if it works out for our schedules, keeping track with the year.
Yeah.
And kind of just have it maybe
follow up.
Yeah, we'll have some follow-ups.
For sure.
As long as you're busy, so.
It's all good. Happy to help.
If you blow up, just remember, if you blow up from this podcast, just remember how you started.
I love it. Always stay humble.
Anything else?
I know. I thank you all for listening, and thank you for the opportunity. And again, if you need anything, reach out to us. We're here to help you.
Yep. And so today is not January 6th, but it's going to come out on January 6th, and you're doing a giveaway for this podcast on your Instagram, and it's for a free product, Amino Lean. So go check out Melissa's Instagram, and there's a post about the podcast, and then the giveaway, the winner will be announced on Monday, January 7th.
Correct.
So you guys, if you haven't gone and followed her on Instagram yet, you need to, because you have basically a couple hours left before the winner is announced. But yeah, I think that's it, right?
Okay.
You did a great job.
I think that's awesome. Hey, thanks. First time.
Yeah, first podcast for her, and I think she did a great job.
First time caller, long time listener.
Oh yeah, I hope so, right?
Got it.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody.